They were laughing when I walked in. Glasses clinking, champagne spilling on the white marble counter I'd installed myself. My sister twirled in her designer gown, and my parents' faces beamed like they'd just won the lottery. "Thanks for the wedding present, sweetheart," my mother said. I smiled, just a soft curve of the lips. Controlled, precise. "Of course," I said. "You should check your mail." That's when the laughter died. But I'll get there. The lake house wasn't just a property. It was my only proof that peace existed once in my life. My father and I built the dock the summer I turned 16. My mother painted the shutters blue. It smelled like pine and old books, and it was mine. Legally, emotionally, historically, mine. They knew that. When Dad lost his job, I helped pay the mortgage. When Mom's health dipped, I covered her hospital bills. Every transfer, every deposit came from my account. The quiet reward of years spent working 80-hour weeks and skipping vacations. So when I got the call from the real estate agent, when he said, "Congratulations on selling your lake property," I thought it was a mistake. It wasn't. They'd forged my signature, used the power of attorney I'd signed years ago, back when I still believed family meant safety. They sold my lake house. Every cent went to pay for my sister's $150,000 wedding, a grotesque parade of flowers, photographers, and fake smiles. I didn't shout, didn't cry. I just went quiet. The night after the sale, I went down to the lake, or what used to be mine. The new owner had already started renovations. The dock was gone. The air didn't smell like pine anymore, just sawdust and cheap ambition. I stood there for an hour, thinking. Revenge is never loud. It's a whisper in a crowded room. First, I called my attorney, the one who owed me a favor. We drafted a revocation of power of attorney, quietly backdated, quietly notarized. Then we reviewed every document related to the sale, every email, every forged signature, every falsified record. Forgery, fraud, wire transfer tampering. My parents had committed all three. I let them live in blissful ignorance while I gathered everything. Screenshots, statements, notarized copies. My sister posted daily on social media, #blessed, #fairytale wedding. She tagged me in one. Couldn't have done it without my amazing brother. She was right. 3 weeks before the wedding, I called the bank. Froze the accounts they didn't know I still co-owned. My father's retirement fund? Frozen. My mother's savings? Gone. Liquidated. Legally. The lake house proceeds? Under federal review. I didn't need to ruin the wedding. That would have been too easy. I wanted the silence after. So I attended. Wore a tailored black suit. Smiled for the photos. Stood beside my father as he toasted family loyalty. When they raised their glasses, I raised mine too, and hit send. The email went to every guest, every vendor, every financial institution connected to them. Subject line, "A wedding funded by fraud." Attached, evidence. Bank records, forgeries, timelines, legal filings already submitted to the state attorney's office. By the time my sister cut the cake, her phone was buzzing nonstop. My father's smile faltered first. My mother's hand shook next. Then the whispers began. I didn't stay for the fireworks. 2 days later, they called. 50 missed calls, 20 messages. I didn't answer. When the police showed up at their house with a warrant, they finally realized this wasn't a family disagreement. It was a crime scene. They hired lawyers, expensive ones, but I'd made sure the money trail was public, frozen, and undeniable. The proceeds were flagged for restitution. My sister's wedding photos never made it online. When I walked into their kitchen that final morning, the laughter was gone, replaced by the brittle silence of people who've just met the consequences of their own choices. "Thanks for the wedding present," my mother said weakly, as if pretending could reverse time. My father avoided my eyes. My sister just stared at her phone, pale. I smiled. Of course. You should check your mail. 3 envelopes, one for each of them. Inside, official notice of the fraud investigation, asset seizure orders, and my letter. Handwritten, brief, final. You sold the only place I called home, so I sold your peace of mind. My mother's hand trembled as she read it. My father looked like he'd aged 10 years in a breath. My sister whispered something. An apology, maybe? But I didn't hear it. I turned and walked out. The lake was quiet when I returned a month later. The new owner hadn't touched much since the investigation froze the property. The water was still, almost reflective enough to show the person I used to be. But I wasn't that person anymore. Some people mistake forgiveness for weakness. I prefer silence. Silence and closure.